All right, so now we officially start. Thanks everybody for showing up. And today we have Favio Vasquez, who's going to be presenting his case or his presentation about data science. And to give you guys a brief rundown on who we are as a company, our company is called Ideas. And this is co-hosted by another company called Data Application Lab. And for Ideas, we're a nonprofit organization. And our goal or our mission is to just get everybody in the field of data. And we're trying to transition to blockchain a little bit, but anything with data science, AI, big data, blockchain, we're just trying to get everybody together as a community, more close, and just to spread the awareness of what we can do with data. So for us, we host a lot of conferences, and right now we're branching out into online conferences now, which you guys are here right now, the webinars. So this is completely new. This is our second episode actually. So if you guys are new, we post our updated videos to our channel called Data Application Lab on YouTube. We also hold certificates, workshops, and we also do some consulting work. So if you're ever interested, you could check out our website, which I'll send you out later. And this is just a rough breakdown on how we evolved as a company. We just started February 2016, launched our first conference at USC, our SoCal Data Science Conference, and we just moved up real quick. We just had our last conference, I think a few days ago at Harvard and MIT. It went really well. And again, as a company, we are connected with a lot of keynote speakers, a lot of data scientists, and a lot of people in the industry. We provide a lot of sessions, training, and we just like to utilize our resources to just network. So take this opportunity to connect with us, and whenever there's opportunities of any sort, we love to provide resources to you guys. So these are some of our few speakers. We have hundreds throughout the year. And because of this, we're associated with many different companies. If you're ever interested in partnering with us with anything you guys want, we have a sponsorship package. Feel free to email me or leave a message. And the demographics for us, this is pretty interesting. So 20% of our attendees are like scholars, 36% are young professionals, like breaking into the field, 22% are practitioners, and 14% is just other people. And here, these are our close sponsors and partnerships. We're very close with LinkedIn, NVIDIA, IBM, and also USC. That's where our main organization is located at. We're in the LA area. And two, we provide certificates, SQL training, R, Python, recommendation systems, and NLP. So here's the email. You could jot it down real quick. You have any questions, could be anything related to data science, questions on how to get into the field, or partnerships, feel free to message or email through here. And now I'm gonna start sharing this, and I would like to pass the baton to Favio. So thanks, Favio, for showing up. I'm end my screen.
All right. So thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna share my screen right now. I'm gonna share everything here. Share screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
All right. So what is this thing I call shaping the world with data science? I explain that in the rest of the talk. Right now, I can say that I just changed jobs. I'm working for Rakuten and OXXO. If you don't know what's OXXO, it's the biggest commodity store here in Mexico, and they have a lot of different kind of maybe stores, but the main one is called OXXO, and they sell always these goods for you, like coffee and rice and I don't know, whatever. And it's really big here in Mexico. Right now, I'm working in side of IMA, or information management and analytics. I'm creating right now the data science team, and I'm trying to do my best here to improve the way this company works with data science. So what is this webinar going to be about? In the first part, I'll be talking about what is data science. I'm going to give my definition of data science. And then I'm going to say, or maybe discuss, why is data science important? And how are we using data science for a better world, for improving the world? And how you can change the world with data science. Okay, so maybe you can just say what you think in the Q&A section, but I always ask this question. And for you, is data science a science? Why for you it's not, or why is a science for you? And maybe you can just post there on the Q&A or chat. But my answer to this question is that data science is much linked to the business, but it's a science in the end, or it's in the process of becoming one, or maybe not. But this is why I think it could be important for data science to become a full science. When you have a full science there, that will mean that all the projects we are doing with data science should be reproducible, and that means that everyone else with the same data and code should be able to get the same answers. And that's really important for science too, because if I publish an article with my findings and I'm saying in the article, this is something I just found, and anyone else will be able to find it in the future, that's really not useful for humankind. And it's important that we think, if we're doing open source data science, or we're doing this for this different kind of projects to improve the world, that everyone else out there should be able to reproduce what you're doing. Fallible, that means that it's not the actual final truth of the world, that we're not discovering here the ultimate truth of the world. And this is true for science too. Science is not in the look for the truth, it is in the look for knowledge. And we're not trying here to say, or you won't see in an article in science or physics or whatever, someone saying, yeah, this is the final theory and this is it. Please stop investigating because I just found the ultimate truth. And that's true for data science too, because we're trying to improve our accuracy, or improving the algorithms we're using, machine learning, deep learning, but it's never going to end. We're not finding here the final answer to anything. We're improving, and we'll be improving all the time. Collaborative, that means that data science and a data scientist should exist in a team. It's not we should work with a team of different kinds of people to solve business problems. And this is really important, because right now we're seeing a lot of these big companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft open sourcing their own code, and this is for this purpose, to be able to improve collaboration across the world with their findings, and getting more people involved in what they're doing. So think about that when you're trying to do data science in your company, that this is you should be thinking that you are a team player. You're not a lone wolf there trying to change the world by yourself. And creative, because science is really creative, because we're trying to solve really difficult problems, and not all the time we have a clear answer to them, or a clear path to solve it. So we should be creative, be able to find solutions out there that work for different kind of projects, and apply it to ours. And finally, compliance to regulations, regulations, sorry, because it will be more and more important in the future that we will have more laws that will prevent anything we want with data. And when you're entering a new company, you should ask, hey, what can I do, or what can I can, I do with it. And you should be, maybe you should be thinking that you should be doing ethic stuff with the data you have. And when you're analyzing someone, I always say this, for you, it's just a data point, but inside of that data point is a whole story. Someone asking, or maybe trying to be the best they can. This is what I worked in a bank, and when we were trying to say to someone that, hey, you have your credit approved or denied, and this is not only a number. I mean, people are not just number, and they should not be for you. There's people trying to do the best out there, so you have to make sure that you're doing your best to get the good people the good things, and to shut down bad people out there. So with all of that I just talked about, I just created a definition of data science. I posted it on a blog maybe a month ago on Towards Data Science. And this is my solution to this question. What is data science? It's the resolution to business or organization problems. I say here organizations because it's not always business, because the business want to, it's for a profit. But organizations, maybe they can be like academic stuff, or people trying to end famine in the world. So it's really different here. And we're trying to solve these kind of problems through mathematics, programming, and the scientific method. And that will mean that you should create a hypothesis of what you will think will be an answer to the problem, create experiments that could be different kind of codes and with different kind of platforms or tools, and then some tests. And through the analysis of data, you should generate a predictive model. And this is what we do with data science. And this is an important word here, and it should be a word that we all think about, and that's the word model. When we're doing science, we're not solving the reality of stuff. We're creating a model of what things look like. And this is what we do in data science. We make assumptions. And you should be aware of those assumptions in your models. When you're creating, when you're using frameworks that has some algorithms for data science, all of them have some assumptions on how the world should look like, or how the data should look like. Because for data science, your field of study is actually data, and you have to make assumptions there and create a model of reality, and then solve it with this process. Data science is also responsible for transforming these problems that the business or organization have into well-posed questions. And that means a thing that can be solved with data science. Not every question can be solved with data science. Not everything can be solved with data science, and not everything should be solved with data science. And when I say here well-posed question, what I'm saying is a question that can be answered through the scientific method, creating an experiment, hypothesis, and test with data to then create a model. Okay, and this solution should also respond to the initial hypothesis in a creative way. In the end of this process, data science must also include the effective communication of the results obtained and how the solution adds value to the business or organization. You're not doing anything if your solution just sits there in a notebook, or maybe in a .py or .r. Maybe that's nothing for the business if you cannot effectively communicate the results and how that solution will add value to the business. So this is what we see all the time in the internet, or what people is trying to say data science is. It's not that far away from the truth, but I think we're more than that. We're more than a Venn diagram. And this is what I created a definition for myself of who is a data scientist, and it's really close to what is data science. So for me, a data scientist is a person in charge of analyzing these problems that business or organization have, and give an structured solution. In the words structured solution, You should be thinking about the scientific method and hypothesis and tests and all of this different stuff, starting by converting this problem into a valid question and a complete question. That should mean that you need an answer to the question. You need to create a question that can be answered, and can be answered with data science. And then using programming, computational tools, you should develop codes that prepare, clean, analyze the data we have to create models and then answer the initial question. So this is for me what a data scientist, and this is what I do all the time. Of course, there can be different variants to this definition. If you think something different, just please say in the Q&A, and we will discuss it later. All right. So why are we here in this webinar? Why I define myself as a data scientist, and why is data science important after all? So I think data science is important because it enables us to create intelligence through AI. And this is, and when I say AI here, I'm actually just talking about machine learning, deep learning, and all of these subfields that we have, because we're not in the point of artificial general intelligence. But I think data science guides the companies and guides all of the world out there to create intelligent solutions through AI. Because AI by itself is a good area of research, but without a science and people working with that theories, it's just papers. So this is like the engineering of science, like when an engineer creates a building that an architect just draw. For me, data science is doing that for AI. And also it exists because hidden in the data, there are treasures waiting to be discovered. And this is a phrase that I like a lot, and is data is the new soil. And I think I've talked about this before, and a lot of people too, but it's not, there was a quote before that said data is the new oil, but it's not the same, because oil by itself has value. You can just sell, I mean, if you are out there and you find oil, you can just sell it. But with data, it's not the same, because data should be worked, and we should get out there and get our hands dirty to analyze and find these hidden treasures in the data. So this is what data science is doing all the time, trying to find this data, work a lot there, clean it, prepare it, analyze it, and then create predictive models with it. All right, so I'm gonna go through here to different projects in organizations, making the world better with data science. And I wanted to talk about this because maybe it's not that they're not that famous as Google creating an autonomous car, or someone else creating just a robot for just picking up stuff. That's okay too. That's really cool, and that's something that will be important in the future. But these different companies I'm talking about are actually creating really good solutions for improving the world and the way we live our lives with data science. So the first I want to talk about data science social good. That's a group side the University. They have a fellowship this summer, and what they're doing there is they're training data scientists, or maybe aspiring data scientists, on data mining, machine learning, big data, and all this different stuff in projects with social impact. And they're working closely with governments, nonprofits, and they're solving a lot of different problems in health, energy, economic development, and different stuff. That fellowship is held in Chicago. I think for this year it's closed, but they have that all of the years. So you should go there and check it out. If you write this on Google, you'll find it really fast. So some of the problems they're solving with data science right now, and they're open projects for you to work there. If you go there, or maybe just contact someone there, is they're working with Netherlands government, trying to improve incident response. and they're actually doing some predictive enforcement of pollution for waste violations in New York, predicting the risk of long-term employment. In Mexico, they have 4 projects right now. These are the ones I found on the internet. They're enhancing the distribution of services, reducing maternal mortality, improving government response on citizen requests online, improving long-term financial soundness by identifying causes of home abandonment in Mexico. They're predicting, they creating analytics to prevent lead poisoning in children, and identifying new alternatives for the food bank donation. And all of these projects that you're seeing here, they were created on this fellowship in these summers. So they're really interesting. You can go there, and if you go to the project section in the web page, you can see and read more about them. Other company I found that was doing something really important was Base Impact, and their lemma is build the social services of the future. And what they're saying here is that they think, and their belief is that new technologies can do more than just generate profit. And I really agree with that. I think there's nothing bad on getting profit of what you on doing what you love, and you need to do that to be able to survive and have a good life. But there can be more stuff that you can do with these things right now. And they have some projects there. One of them I found really interesting was reducing hospital readmissions with data science. They're trying to find people who's gonna have a high probability of getting back to the hospital, and that's a really big problem in the United States right now. You can read more about the webpage. They're helping millions out there breaking out of unemployment. They're working that with France right now. They're also restoring trust in police through data. And for this, by the way, I will be these slides will be available for you for free, and I will create a post a post after the webinar with the slides, so you can click here on the GitHub, because all of their projects are open source, and they have a demo here too. Okay, one of the other big companies I found there that are doing as they say, products built for a purpose is Palantir, and they have 2 products right now. One is called Gotham, called Foundry, and they're more specialized on making people understand their data and integrating, managing their data, amplifying the power of the data. And when you have the time, just click here on the YouTube video I put there, because they work with the government of the United States when the Sandy hurricane came, and how people use Gotham to improve the way that people trying to help, people trying to help people with problems with the hurricane, use the platform. So when I thought about all of these big stories of success of companies trying to change the world, I found myself in a point where I thought, how can I be able to change the world, or maybe improve it in some way? And it's not easy, because you think there's a lot of problems out there. There's a lot of things that you think, I cannot solve this because this is bigger than me, and this problem is really hard to solve. And I found 2 things that I wanted to share with you. And one of them is a quote by Aldous Huxley. He was a writer in the United States, and he says there, "I wanted to change the world, but I have found that the only thing one can be sure of changing is oneself." And this kind of quote, and this kind of quote just is really close to something that you should be thinking. And this is this thought here we have, that when you're trying to change the world, you feel you should be starting by changing yourself. Improving yourself can make an impact on your family and friends, and then your family and friends can make an impact on the town you live, and then that impact will be, I don't know, maybe is spread through the state and the nation, and that could indeed change the world. So don't feel overwhelmed with all of these things and trying to just shoot for the stars right away. Improve yourself, use the things you know to maybe create an open source project following these things I just share with you. Or maybe you have a problem in your city that you think, hey, this can be solved with data science. Why can't I just go there and solve it? And for you, it will be good too. If you're trying to look for a job in data science and you have an open source project solving a real world problem, and everyone is using that solution, I think it will be really easy for you to get a job in data science. So by helping the world, you're helping yourself too. And this is why I think we need more people interested in trying to do better for the world. We need more courses on this kind of things, not only Python, R, and machine learning and stuff. And there should be more courses and more specialization on how to solve real world problems we have that like are hurting our lives and our family's life or our town's life with data science. And we need more enthusiasm from schools, universities, and big companies out there. And what you should be thinking about is we need you and you need yourself. Because if you're not helping yourself to improve, you're actually not helping the world to improve. So we need you as a person, if you're in data science, to think about all of these different problems we have in the world right now and how can you solve them with data science. And you need that for yourself, because if you solve a problem that is big for maybe a small town, you'll be helping yourself too. And that's it. This is what I wanted to share with you guys, and I hope you guys were inspired by these different kind of stories we have. And maybe that got you inspired to do something really interesting and something that will make you happy with the things you know about right now with data science. And thank you for listening to me. Wait, you're on mute, Randy.
Oh, thanks, Favio. That was great. Loved it. And then something that I would like to add on to Fabio's point, I totally agree on this. And again, in order to even make an impact to the world, or even to just like your family, friends, like what Fabio stated before, you have to invest your time in yourself, whether that be improving yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. In the end, it goes back to yourself, because if you can't help yourself out, then no matter what you do, you can't make an impact. And improving yourself, again, constant learning, but can you hear me?
Yeah, your audio is really shaky.
Break up? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You can use this time to answer Q&A questions right now.
Yeah.
All right. So I have one question here. I'm gonna post it on the chat box. So for those that are still here, we're gonna do some Q&A sessions. And for one of the questions I have is, so he has a bachelor's and master's in computer science, and he has been in the different field for 4 years. He's working in a data analyst position for 9 months, but he wants to get into data science. Do you have any advice for him?
All right. So this is, I think, one of the questions we get the most on LinkedIn and how to get a job in data science, and it's not easy for different things. but is of course possible. If you're working right now as a data analyst, I think it's not that hard for you to get into data science. You need to be able to make sure that you have all of the skills that people is gonna maybe hope that you have on point. You should be able to do more than than analyzing the data. You should be able to create models, to use machine learning, to use programming, to understand business problems and how to transform those problems into solutions with data science. And the thing here is it's not easy because a lot of different companies are not clear on what data science is. I think they're getting out. They're getting there because the efforts from a lot of different communities, like the LinkedIn one, is actually improving the way recruiters and companies are seeing data science right now. And I think it will be maybe easier in the near future to get a job there, but maybe try to apply to different companies. Don't apply to the best companies you think there are. There are a lot of good startups and small companies trying to find data scientists who work with them. So don't get frustrated. There's gonna be a lot of rejection that's common in every job seek. but I think it's really possible, and if you have your skills on point, you're gonna get there.
Mm-hmm. And do you have another question? A few people have the same question, so I'm gonna aggregate it into one. It's an overlap, but a common question I've been receiving is, can you give us an example on converting a problem, into converting problems into a question?
All right. This is a great question because this is the hardest part of being a data scientist. And I'll give you an example here. So maybe let's say we are on a business and on a meeting with business people, and you're the data scientist there, and they're saying to you, hey Favio, so we want to improve sales for this 3-month period that is coming. So what? And the problem for the company there is they want to improve sales. They have no idea how or where they can start, and this is the problem for you. All right. So the first thing you should be thinking here is, okay, so they have a problem, and the problem is they want to improve sales. But the first question is, of course, the why maybe is kind of obvious for you. They want to just improve sales to get more money. But you can go there and ask, hey, but what is the standard right now for your sales? And how's the marketing people trying to solve this problem? Are there any initiatives in the company trying to do this? Do you guys have some expectation of can be really different for different kind of people? You can say like 10% is okay, or 20% or 50%. What is improvement there? And you should go there and really ask a lot of different questions on how are they expecting to improve these things they're saying to you, because they are just ideas that they have, and maybe they're not really fit into a data science process. So your job there is trying to change all of these different ideas into different steps. So where is the data that I will use to have an idea of what are the numbers of sales right now, and who's going to work with me to integrate the data with all of the different, to create a model. And you want this problem to be solved. And this all of these questions will be guiding you through the process of the data science pipeline to get from the data model. And of course, this is not easy. Every question is different, and every problem is different. There's some all the time. Maybe I had a post on that a long time ago. Maybe I'll share with you again, or maybe I can create a blog. about it, because I think it's a really crucial step in science. So wait for that.
Got it. And I have two more, but one question that really stood out was from
All right.
Wanhua. And she said, so she's confused on how companies can use data science. And especially in this industry, since technology is changing so quick, some companies are utilizing big data, whereas smaller companies don't really need it. So her question is, like, what are the foundations on what she should be focusing on in regards to like analytics or anything data science?
All right. So right now, companies are doing different stuff with data, and I think that depends on the company you're working with. And some of them need big data, some of them don't need all of these really fancy solutions we have there. And what you should be thinking is, what is the goal of the company? I mean, something that I do when I mean, this is what I am doing right now, trying to understand the business I just entered. I'm trying to understand the business. I'm trying to get a lot of meetings with people that are the decision makers. I'm trying to go there and understand the values of the business. What are they doing? What are the objectives for this month, for this semester, for this year? And the foundation of what you should be doing should be really close on what is on what the company wants to do. Because if you're trying to solve things that are not important for the company, you're just trying to solve your problems, not the company's problems. And so I think you should be really aware of what the company is trying to solve with data. What did they created this new department, maybe you're in there, and what was the initiative in the beginning, what happened before you get there with your data science stuff. And that's just really understand the business. This is not an easy thing to do. It will take you not a long time, but some time, and you should be expanding the first steps in every company for a data scientist should be understanding the business, and try to do whatever it takes to understand the business.
Got it. And last question. I see this a lot. It's kind of vague, but the question is more geared towards stats and probability. So I have a few people asking me these questions, and I guess they're trying to ask, how is stats and probability utilized in the data science?
All right. So I think a lot of the different models we are creating and algorithms, underneath they have statistics and probability out there. I mean, a lot of machine learning algorithms are based on Bayesian theory of analytics and Bayesian theory of statistics. So I mean, if you're not researching in machine learning, you should not be that concerned with understanding the full picture of every algorithm or every code is out there in machine learning. What you should be really aware is we use a lot of statistics trying to explain when a model is correct. And this is what I do the most with statistics. There are a lot of different metrics for classification problems, for deep learning problems, for unsupervised learning problems, reinforcement learning, whatever you're doing. We use statistics to find that if the solution we're getting to the problem is correct, and if this solution is statistically acceptable for the business. And there are a lot of different metrics like accuracy and recall, and you have all of these mean absolute error stuff, and all of these different kind of things took from statistics that we use all the time to measure the goodness of a model. And this is what we do the most with statistics. And probability is important because a lot of the things we're doing are not deterministic. Some of them are stochastic, and they have the randomness of the world inside of the algorithm. And you should be aware of when you're using stochastic and probabilistic models and where you're using the deterministic models. It's not the same. And I think for me is more close to the end of the problem. I think statistics is in all of the process of data science, when cleaning the data, integrating the data, and all of these different stuff. But we use it the most for testing and measuring the goodness of a model.
Got it. I don't know if you have some more time to answer 2 more questions. Is that fine?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Yeah. So thanks again for giving us your questions, and thanks again for staying with us. 2 more questions that popped up that I think are pretty interesting. One is, so this is from Mei Yang, and he or she said, I have a set of data with a lot of columns, a lot of rows, but how do I impute the missing data? So this is a data imputation problem. He has nans and missing values.
All right. So I think you should not be imputing missing data all the time. I think that will depend on the problem and the data you have, because I mean I've worked in some projects because that was the thing for me. Hey, just why not using here k nearest native words, or maybe the median here, or the mean. And when I got to the point of presenting this problem to the business, they were saying, hey, but be careful, you cannot assume here anything. So there are some data and problems that you cannot impute data, and you should be working with missing data. All right, and first be aware of that. So if you can impute the missing data, there are different ways. You can use the most frequent value. The most frequent value, you can use the mean, the median. You can try to use an algorithm like KNN that will find the best point there for according to the other points out there. I mean, it's like an interpolation mostly out there, that you have the different points, and it will say if these columns and this data is like that, there's a big chance that this missing point should be 1 or 2 or 2.3 or whatever. And so, and if you're concerned with missing data for creating models, just make sure to read the documentation for the other using, because some of them are do not work with missing values, and you should be cleaning them before going into doing data science. Machine learning. I had this problem before with Spark. I was trying to use different, and there was really errors that you get there, and the solution was, hey, this can use missing data. So just make sure that if you cannot impute it in any way, and make sure that you can use it in like a parameter, and something in some problems like this. Think that a lot of different problems are actually they can be solved with missing data, and this can be a parameter too for your model too. So be aware of that.
Got it. Another one, pretty interesting, is...
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Favio?
I cannot hear you, Randy.
How about now? How about now?
I can
yours a little like... It's a little laggy. The question is, can you explain the difference between business intelligence and data science?
Sorry, I can hear you now, but I did not hear anything.
All right, thanks. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So the question was, can you explain the difference between business intelligence and data science?
All right, that's a good question too. Business intelligence and data science are different names to similar stuff, but it's not the same. And there's people out there trying to say that data science is just business intelligence, and this it's no difference whatsoever. But with the definition I gave of data science, I don't think a business intelligent person is doing that. If you think of data science of this process I just mentioned with the scientific method out there in the creation of hypotheses, experiment tests to solve this kind of different problems using algorithms to generate predictive models, I don't think that's all the time what a business intelligent person is doing. BI is more close to creating reports and to creating different kind of metrics that can measure the way a process is being held in a company, that can measure different kind of way to understand a problem, and they are of course important. Don't think that if you're a business intelligent person you're doomed because of data science, because they need to work closely with data science, with scientists. And this is what I did a lot in the last job I had. I mean, there were people out there that had maybe 10 years in the bank or 20 years in the bank, and they were BI people. And when you're just getting out there and you're trying to do all of this different fancy stuff with data science, so for me, it's a really big point of help. This business intelligent people, because they help the data scientists understand the business. They help the data scientists understand how a process was maybe was fixed, and maybe how things are being uh, I mean how the business, how they solving the problems you're trying to solve right now. And I think that's the biggest difference should be that a BI person is not creating advanced analytics solutions with machine learning and deep learning and all of these different kind of stuff to solve problems for the business in that way. They're solving problems in a different way, trying to create reports and analysis of data, but it's not the same.
Got it. Let's see if there's any more. Okay, last one. This is kind of on some real difference between
I can't hear you again. Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So Kavita asks, is there any difference between statistical learning and machine learning? Last one.
So I think that the foundations of machine learning are statistical learning. And I think it's really close, and there are books that are named statistical learning that are just machine learning. So I think there's a really thin line here for trying to say what is machine learning, what's statistical learning. And there are some models in machine learning that are not full statistics. They're more close to calculus and stuff. And just make sure that when you're hearing the words statistical learning, you're using statistics and probability to solve the problems. And machine learning can be, and there are models out there that are not that close to statistics, or they're more close to different kind of programming abilities or theories in math. But I will say that the foundations of machine learning are statistical learning, and you will find people, really important people saying it's the same. I think it could be the same if you think all of the problems in machine learning can solve with all other problems that machine learning are solved with statistics. I think that could be a solution. But I I I now and using R in machine learning of those statistics. So I will say that's the I mean maybe um, the the path just get spread there. And there's something there that says Tiffany is going to answer this question live.
Which one? The option?
I don't know. Something is in blue in the Q&A.
Oh yeah, that allows you to answer it if you want to type it
No,
out.
I don't understand.
Okay, but I'm just reading you these questions as they're coming along. And there's also one more because people are answering, and I just want to take the time to answer it. Pradeep asked, should we need to learn basic programming? So I think you should emphasize like how crucial it is to understand, I guess, data structures, programming in general, and the benefits it is for data science.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, and I've seen people trying to go from Excel to Spark. And that's not the way to do data science, because we really, I mean, we're not expected to be developers or the best in Python or R, but you should learn the basics of programming, data structures, as Randy said, and how to use all of these different tools that a programming language is giving you to solve a problem in data science. I've seen a lot of people trying to just throw code to solve a problem, and they always get stuck. And that's because they don't fully understand what they're doing. Why maybe this is better to use a function here than just a structure? Why is better here to not to vectorize the code and not use a for loop? Why should I be creating a class and all of this weird stuff like attributes and objects? Why is that helpful for data science? And you should, I mean, and this is why I always say you should learn to program and then start to program with data science, because it's not the same. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's really easy to use pandas and Spark and scikit-learn and TensorFlow, because we have all of these different kind of examples. But when you are solving your real world problem, it's not the same. And I can stress how different it is to replicate a problem in a blog post than actually solving a real problem in your company. It's really different. Mm-hmm. And you should be understanding that the main difference here is that you're going to use a lot of different kinds of programming structures and different kind of theories in computing to solve this problem. So you should be learning programming, basic programming in the language you prefer. Maybe just maybe stick with the languages in data science like Python, R, Scala, Java. Don't learn COBOL and Fortran, because they're not gonna be really useful for your job. But just maybe stick with Python and R for right now.
Yeah.
A programming book, I think programming book is okay. I haven't. I mean, when I was studying computer science, and I read books on programming, but right now I think it's easier to get there and do an online course and just try with your examples and download maybe data from Kaggle and try your own stuff and maybe solve a problem. Go to HackerRank and solve different kind of challenges and have a programming buddy. I think that's very important.
That helps.
Find someone that is interested in programming. This week we're going to learn about loops, or this week we're going to learn about functions. And this is the good thing that I found in MOOCs, because MOOCs, they have forums, and a lot of people that are in the same level as you are learning. And maybe you can create study groups and stuff. And I think this is easier to learn than just alone. This is my suggestion is to be better than a book and practice a lot.
Mm-hmm.
best practices for programming.
Can
I
you hear
think
me
you
okay,
should, if you're in Python, read about PEP 8. And John asked, my question is on best practices in programming. I think if you want to, and I think that's something really important. And if you really want to be a good data scientist in a software company, you should be aware of the software engineering process. Be aware of what is testing, why people is software tested. Make sure it's important to read more about the 8 and why you should be using the success. Memorizing your code, that's a really important, I think, suggestion. And your code,
Can you hear me?
hey.
All right. Oh yeah. So I also want to add to what Fabio said.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I got it. Also too, for those that are really new to the field, including myself, one approach that I find very useful, and I've heard from other people as well, is data science is a hands-on approach. So no matter how much theory and how much books you read, the only real way you're going to learn is by actually coding it and seeing the results. So one way to do this that I recommend is actually go to Kaggle and then look at the notebooks that they provide, because people are there showcasing step by step what code they use to implement their visualizations and then like the machine learning models. So it's a really quick way to actually like understand what problem they're trying to solve, understand how they did it, and then you could probably get some of that resources and as your own, because those are some really, really helpful stuff.
Yeah, that's really true.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's it. We've been here for almost an hour. Thanks so much, everybody, for attending. Do you have any anything you want to say last, Fabio?
So I think what I can say is my final goal right now in life is trying to make this world a better place. And I will be doing that if maybe right now I'm a data scientist, maybe in the future I will be back to physics or whatever, and I will be always trying to do this. And there are always ways to improve your family, yourself, your country, your town, in the world with the things you're doing. Try to use the things you learn. Try to use your expertise in solving problems that are good for the world.
Yep.
And of course, it's nothing bad on getting profit on that, but the think that we are here for a short period of time, and there's nothing else. So you should be working a lot to make this world a better place right now, because there's no going back to time and doing it again.
Yeah, definitely. And also I'd like to add too, oh yeah, so back to like the data science stuff, doing all these coursework and projects. You can do all these projects, and I can't stress this enough. It's not for yourself. You're doing these projects for a reason, and always have that picture on why you're doing your work. It could be for yourself, but the most important and the reality is you're actually doing this for somebody else, not for yourself. And this is back to always providing feedback. So whenever you're doing a project or you learn something, share your results with the community, because you don't even know. Maybe somebody out there that's really lost and they read one of your posts, they're going to get so much value from your post. So that's why I emphasize using LinkedIn as not only a networking tool or like a sharing tool, but use it as a way to connect and build relationships with somebody else, which I highly value the platform for. And that's just my saying. We host these webinars bi-monthly, so we're going to have another one in 2 months. And if you guys have any suggested speakers, please let me know. Oh,
So I think that's a really good suggestion. Join the shares, and there's a really good community out there.
yep.
From each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm I'm breaking up a little bit, so I apologize for my connection. And again, thanks so much for being here. We're gonna have another one in 2 weeks. I'm looking for speakers. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. All right, thank you guys.